Hello and welcome back to my craft room, where I am just about to start putting the finishing touches to my contribution to the Inspired by Forests, Woods and Trees collaboration. So there are 10 of us all together doing this. We did a collaboration back in the summer which was inspired by fairy stories, and we had such a lot of fun with it, and it was so we had such a good response to it that we thought we'll make it a regular thing, and we're going to make it quarterly-ish. We're a bit late because we had Inktober. Anyway, so the idea is to create something, anything, any medium, any format, whatever floats your boat really. It's as long as it's inspired by forests, woods and trees. If you'd like to join in and create something yourself, please do so. Upload any videos, photos or whatever to whichever social media and use the hashtag Inspired by Forests, Woods and Trees. All one word, all lowercase. I know it's quite long, but I tried to find something that wasn't already being used by other people, and that way we'll be able to find you and come and see what you've done, and leave a comment, and you know, we all inspire and encourage each other, and that is what it's all about. So it can be anything creative, anything from flower arranging to cake making to painting, drawing, sculpting, crochet, anything, as long as it's inspired by that theme. It's actually, there's such a lot of scope with it really, that I think that's why it's taken me a while to get going. I couldn't settle on a single idea to get started on, and I've left it really late for me. I think for the last collab, by this stage I'd already made 3 things and made all the videos. Now here we are, 2 days to go and I'm just finishing. Anyway, that's okay, that's okay. So what I decided to do, out of all the many ideas going around in my head, I went for a little walk in the woods. It's something I love to do. We've got a wooded area in the park near us, and it's my favourite kind of walking, always woodland. It occurred to me that as well as looking up, and you know, I love to see the sunshine coming through the trees. I love to see the trees changing with the seasons. I love all that, but I do find I spend a lot of my time looking down when I'm in woods. The last time I was walking just recently in woodland with a friend, and we spotted this beetle stuck flat on its back. And I rescued it, turned it over, and it was just this rainbow of colours coming off it. It was just beautiful. I love looking for fungi, but I love to forage for other food as well. You know, berries and apples and things that I can take home and make into something, or pine needles. In my last video I showed some baskets I made with pine needles that my husband gathered in the woods for me. And also, one of the brilliant things about walking in the woods is when you spot wildlife, you know, birds you might not see otherwise. We saw a hedgehog in the park woodland that I'm talking about, and we've seen deer from time to time, foxes, yeah, squirrels. It's you know, it's just part of what makes it a joy to walk through the woods. So I decided to focus in on that, and just as I was kind of mulling that idea over, a screensaver, I don't know if it comes from Microsoft, it never tells you what it is or who's taken the photo, but you get this series of photos come up, and this one came up. I'm going to show you, hang on, this one came up. So I just I just thought, wow, what perfect timing, what beautiful colours, beautiful autumnal colours, and this hedgehog foraging, probably in woodland, much like the one that we saw, and possibly getting ready to hibernate for the winter. I took a screenshot of that and saved it, and I've got a print of it pinned up in front of me on my desk. So that is going to be my inspiration. And then I thought, I've seen a couple of friends of mine online, Just Johnny Creations is one. It was one of the art subscription boxes. It might have been Upcrate, but I wouldn't swear to it. But it's one of the art subscription boxes that's had scratchboard in just recently. I don't think Johnny was too impressed with that box, but it did remind me that I've got this pack of white scratchboard. So it looks black, but when you scratch away it's white. And I bought it, it was in the sale at work, so it was half price. It cost me about £5, I think. But then I really got my discount, 6 pieces. It's quite pricey, but you know, a lot cheaper than an Upcrate box. And I thought, this is a perfect opportunity to try that. And why not, for the collaboration, try something I've never tried before. Anyway, so for my first attempt, I'm really pleased with what I've got so far. Now what I'm going to do is show you where I'm at so far, and then I'm going to put in a clip of kind of a quick speed through of how I got to this point. So this is my hedgehog so far. I've got, these are the leaves I showed in my last video that I'd sort of gathered while walking. So this is the kind of, it just reminds me of what I'm, oops, what I'm talking about, what, you know, I love to gather up things like pine cones to use. I pick up pretty leaves in the same way as I pick up pretty stones off a beach and bring them home. And this just reminds me of the kind of, you know, food foraging that I like to do. I've got my picture pinned up in front of me here, my print of the hedgehog. It's not a great print, but it's good enough. And this is what I've got to so far, and I've thoroughly enjoyed doing this. I will definitely do more. I think once I looked online at scratchboard art, once it dawned on me that once you've scratched away, you can then use paints and things to colour the white bits. I thought, oh right, it was like a light bulb moment. Oh right, you can do that. Of course you can. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm now at the point where I'm going to add. I've got my little watercolour set here. It's a little De La Rowney one, well loved, and one of the little dinky brushes you tend to get in these sets. I don't think it's the one that came with this actually, but and that's all I'm going to use. I'm going to keep it fairly simple. I'm going to use all autumnal colours. I might scratch away a bit more of the background. I don't think I want just a black background. I want this to look like it, because they do forage at night. I mean, when you see them during the day, it usually means there's something wrong with them. They're prone to a lot of dehydration. Is a big problem for hedgehogs in the summer. We always leave dishes of water out because they do come into urban areas. And ticks, they get terrible problems with ticks as well, and their habitat, you know, just losing their habitat, their natural habitat. That's why you see them in urban gardens so much now. Anyway, so they are they're nighttime foragers. So I want this to look kind of like it's almost nighttime. It's kind of twilight maybe. And I thought I might just do some little tiny marks like I've done there. Sort of do some more of those, and some kind of a marking here, just so it's not completely black. I don't think I want it completely black. So anyway, before I start adding the I wanted to show you this before I start adding the colour in case I just ruin it. And I was a little bit tempted to just leave it like this, but I thought no, add the colour. Try and make the vision you had in your head come to life. And I've got a photo of it if it all goes pear-shaped from here. So what I'm going to do is stop now and put in a clip. So I started by making a tracing from my reference photo, just a rough outline, giving me the main areas of light and dark really as much as anything. You can see I keep lifting up the tracing paper there just to have a look, because it's quite hard to see through, to see what you're doing. And here I've started to put in some bits just from my imagination, some mushrooms and blades of grass that you can see in the foreground there. I've done a stone with a beetle on it. I wanted to put some more leaves in the front, and I actually drew round one of the leaves there. Here I'm using the fruit that I picked up, the plums or cherries or whatever they are, and actually just drawing them from life. So it's a mixture of, tracing from the image, getting the rough shapes in, and then just adding details from my imagination and using my little pieces I've picked up. Now it's time to get the whiteboard out, and I've put a piece of Frisk trace down paper underneath. That's like a graphite transfer paper, and I've just used that to transfer all of my lines to the scratchboard. And now it's time to start going in with the scratchy tool, whatever it's called, stylus, I don't know what they call it. I really enjoyed this process right from the beginning. It took me a little while to kind of start to get the angle right, but I really enjoyed using the tool in different ways to get different kinds of marks for different textures. I'm being careful there to leave lines where the blades of grass are overlapping the little mushroom there. And yeah, I used different kinds of marks to get the different textures, and in some places where I knew that I was trying to imagine the light coming kind of from the left and above, so I've made those sides of the mushrooms and the leaves and things much lighter, much whiter. So you're kind of thinking a little bit in negative, but because I know I'm also going to add colour to some of the areas I'm scratching away, it's a bit different from if I was just going to be doing it only in black and white. So here is I've started to work on the hedgehog himself here, and this is a good example of where you can use that tool differently. So I've got big sort of clumpy marks there, is the only way I can describe it, to indicate the coarser bristles coming sort of towards his nose and his eyes. It's finer, more like hairs, and then it kind of turns into bristles as you go towards the back. Working on the leaves here, so I use little scratchy marks to get that crackly kind of dried leaf, you know, you get with fallen leaves. And I tried to leave black lines behind to indicate where the kind of veins in the leaf are, but I didn't do a great job of that, but you sort of get the impression, I think. So there's a bit of a glare off, there's quite a sheen on this, bit of a glare, you can't see too well there. And again, they're trying to get that feeling of a crackly dried leaf by using scratchy marks and trying to leave the veins, the shape of the veins behind. A very absorbing process, this. What you kind of have to avoid doing is doing a solid line to outline something. So I couldn't kind of outline the main shape of the hedgehog, because then you'd end up with this kind of obvious white line at the end, which you don't really want, if that's making sense. So there, where I've gone around I guess that's where the ears are. I haven't done a solid line where they are, I've just done a line of little dashes. And I think I'll probably do that again around the whole body. I really enjoy doing those long lines for the kind of whiskers there. And here you can see I'm putting in I've outlined the shape of the hedgehog with a series of little dashed lines, and then I'm just kind of filling in from there using short clumpy marks for the bristly bits and finer longer ones for where he's got those kind of almost whiskers. I found I did have to be careful which way up I worked, because it's kind of opposite to what you'd usually do if you're drawing. Instead of going left to right and top to bottom, I had to go the other way around, otherwise I was rubbing out my graphite marks with my hand. So that's partly why I've turned it upside down there. By this stage I'd rubbed some of the marks off and I was just freehanding in the leaves. I have done the outline thing there, which I probably shouldn't have done really, but you know, it all worked out in the end. And here I've taken a bit too much black off of the eyes, so I'm going in with my Pitt pen there to just put some of that black back, which of course you can always do. There we go. And now I'm pretty much done and ready to move on to the next stage. Okay, here we go then. I put this, no, I can't put this tool to one side yet. I probably will add some more. I'll put it to one side for a bit, so I can go back in and scratch a bit more once I've added colour to these leaves. Now in the photo, the reference photo that I'm using, the lights in the eyes and on the nose look very slightly blue, and I think I might do that rather than leave them just white, because it might look a bit more lifelike. I'm just adding a few more marks here just to soften out this a little bit. Really loving this medium. So nice when you try something for the first time and actually really enjoy it and get on with it. It doesn't always happen. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is start with the leaves. Okay, let's just go for it, shall we? I'm quite scared of putting the first bit on there. I hope the watercolour will take to it. It's going to be annoying if it doesn't. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's just do it. Oh. Oh, well, that's disappointing. It's not going to take on there at all. I've seen it. I've seen people. I'm going to have to stop and look this up now and see what. I think coloured pencil. Let's just try and touch a coloured pencil. I hope not, because I really, really want it. I'm in the mood for using paint. Okay, I've just tried a couple of different kinds of pencils, and I found that some weren't too happy working on this either. I'm going to have to look up at some point. I want to get this done now, so I'm not going to stop and start looking on Google and distracting myself. I will find out what it is other people are using on this. I mean, maybe they've got a different type of scratchboard that does take watercolour. This is perhaps just too glossy. I don't know. I'm gutted about that because I'm not going to be able to do it the way I want it to. But never mind, I love colour pencils too. Gutted. Because of course there's no tooth to it to grab the pencil. There's no tooth to it at all. I mean, either I've got to accept that I'm going to get this kind of washed out version of what I had in my head, or I stop and see if there's... I'm going to stop and look it up. Okay, I've done a bit of research. Some of the things I read said that people do use watercolours and gouache to add colour to scratchboard, but maybe it depends on the type of scratchboard and what the underlying surface is like. This is very shiny, you know, so I don't think it's ever going to work for pencils. It certainly didn't want to work for watercolours for me. I did see that people use India ink, and I've got a whole load of different colours in this kind of India ink, so I could try that. But then I read that people use markers. I thought, oh yeah, of course, markers. Now I've had to go with some I've just been sort of colouring on the edges here to see what would happen. I've tried a few different kinds of alcohol markers, and they do sit on there, but they're very pale. I didn't even bother trying the water-based ones, but the ones that say permanent or pigment ink seem to work. So I've got a few different ones to try. There's these Karin ones, which I think are, yeah, these are pigment brush pens. So I've got a good range of colours in those. This one's this one's called an IdentiPen. It's for marking things, but it's permanent ink. And it's a nice orange. It's got a fine point on it. I've got some of these. These are Pitt pens I've had for donkey's years. I hope it's still working. Pitt artist brush pen. Not donkey's years, but at least a couple of years I've had those. I believe they came in a school box at some point. And then I've got a whole set of these, which are Stabilo ones. Now I don't know what they're just called. Swan Stabilo pen. So I don't know what kind of ink they are or anything, but I had a quick test of one of the colours and they seemed to work. And again, I've got lots of nice, what's a Staedtler ones crept in there, another permanent one. Yeah, a nice range of kind of autumnal colours there. A couple of them are metallic. I believe that blue and obviously the gold are metallic. Maybe that green looks, no, yeah, that's metallic. They're not all metallic though. It might be nice to have a little metallic touch, but I don't want it to look like one of those scraper foil ones like you have when you're a kid, which I love. I love them, but I don't want it to look like I've just done a kit. Maybe I should have just done a kit, been easier myself. Okay, so fingers crossed. This should be the fun part now. Now on my reference photo, he's absolutely covered in leaves. Like he's burrowed into them, and it might be that I decide I want to go and put some more in. I'm going to put these in and see how it looks, and then it might be that I want to just add more, but I want this feeling of kind of darkness around him as well, and he's just sort of peeking out at you. Okay, let's go for it. Now see, that's taken beautifully on there now. Okay, hopefully we're back on track then. So I'm probably going to put the darker colours towards the back and lighter colours towards the front. So it looks as if the light's coming sort of this way. I've made this side of the leaves slightly lighter, sort of top and side, if that makes sense. I'm using my actual leaves as colour reference as well. I think it's nice to use a mixture of, you know, your photo reference, your imagination, and things, you know, actual things in front of you. So it works well for me. I'm hoping that these don't dry so fast that I can't mix them a little bit. I want to be able to mix them up a bit. Now, those aren't sitting on there very well actually. Oh, that's a shame. It might do if I just rub them in a bit. So these Pitt artist pens, I mean, these are brilliant, these pens, you know, these Pitt artist pens seem to go on almost anything. They really do. Except wet paint. Don't try them on wet paint, you'll regret it. Voice of experience. I'll tell you what, the ones that are working the best are these Stabilo coloured felt pen things. I don't even know what to call them. They don't smell alcohol based. I'm assuming there must be some kind of pigment ink. I don't know. Right, let's add a bit of colour to the leaves. I'm chickening out of that at the moment, so again it's kind of bubbling off a bit. I wonder if that could be because I've got pencil under here. I tried to scrape it off, but I have really dirty fingers by the end of this. Well, I think I'm just going to have to cobble it together as best I can with these. Yeah, these are working fine. I think it was just struggling a bit there where it had a layer of pencil on it. That's what that was. Okay, seems to help to sort of rub it in a bit with a cotton bud and just kind of insist a bit. Okay. Hopefully I'm getting the measure of it now. And if I'm quick enough I can kind of mix the colours a bit, so I'm getting a slightly more natural colour. Okay, right, I'm going to go into quiet mode now because this will take me quite a while, and I will show you a speeded up version of this and see you at the end. Right, I think I'm probably done with this. I'm still tempted to do some little kind of texture marks, because stain my hands. Some little kind of texture marks amongst here. I think I'm not going to add more leaves. I thought about it, but I quite like the black, the contrast of that black there. I think I'm going to leave it like that, but I might just do a few more of these little texture marks. Yeah, it was in the end that using the kind of pigment pens and whatever these Stabilo ones are, I just can't tell you what kind of ink they are because it doesn't say on there, worked really well. But sometimes I had to kind of rub them in. I used either my fingers or the cotton buds, and that was a nice way to blend them together as well. And sometimes they just took a bit of persuasion to kind of stick to that background. But I really enjoyed adding colour in this way. I'm definitely going to be doing more of this. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed myself. Looking at it now on camera, I'm thinking I need to do something a bit more with these red fruit. I was trying to get the look of a shine on there, because when you look at them, they've got some yellow in and they've got that kind of shine on them, but I think they need to look more red than that, so I'll probably just go in and add that, and then I shall take a photo and pop on at the end. But that's it, I'm done. I did have some other ideas for this theme, so I might still do them. So over the coming few days you might see some more collab videos from me. I will leave a link to all of my fellow collaborators, so do go and check out their channels as well. They haven't all got YouTube channels. A couple of people will just be posting on Instagram, but you'll find them. I'll put links to the Instagram and YouTube in the description box below. And again, if you fancy joining in, do share with us any creations that you do inspired by this thing, because we'd all love to see them. Either put them on Instagram, YouTube or Facebook, and use the hashtag inspired by forest, woods and trees, which I will put below, or just put them in the Arty Farty Annie group on Facebook, and I'll definitely see them then, or both. Put them everywhere. It's always so much fun to see all the different takes on one theme, using all different kinds of media, and anything creative, anything goes. Do I need to say anything else? I think that's it. I think I'm done. I hope so. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. If I've forgotten anything, you've got any questions, just shout. I'm going to go off now. By the time you see this, I will be busy looking at all the other collaborators' pieces, because I can't wait to see what they've all come up with. So thanks very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye.